Hello, everybody out there. This is Word with Ty Brownlow. Man, we have a special feature, the NoCap KickBack, and this is our virtual panel, pretty much What Now 2020. This is dedicated to the high school and college graduates, but also the youth and young adults out there who are going through transition at this time. I have with me Miss D. Lovett from Sephora. How are you?
I'm great.
Okay. I also have on the chat today Miss Nakia T. Fields. How are you?
I am good with that kind of introduction. I
All
got
right.
the whole middle initial. Not today.
Hey, I just want to make sure people get their proper due now. Also, I have Mr. A.D. Vaughn from Helping Other People Prosper. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing today?
Man, brother, we are doing very well. Very, very well. So we want to get right into it. Mr. Vaughn, like kids that's going through high school, things of that nature, you are a youth advocate. You work with the youth. And what advice or, what things would you aspire for them right now? There's a lot of things going on with people out here protesting. You have kids graduating from high school who really didn't have a proper graduation, and the future they may have thought that they were going to have, there's a shift now. So how do they handle that shift?
Well, number one, how you handle it. Number one, I would say have to be aware. We have to have awareness. If we don't have awareness of what's going on around us or the circumstances, then it won't be a possible change. So number one, we have to be aware. I would think that would be the number one key, awareness. So number one, since we didn't have graduations and things like that, so now we have to be aware. And number two, we got to have a purpose. We got to be aware and we got to have a purpose, because when it comes to change, it's funny that we always say change is easy to say, but it's difficult to do.
Sure.
So number one, you have to be aware, you got to have a purpose, and you got to be discipled. You got to be disciplined. You got to be very disciplined. And number two, all of that take time. So if you were dealing with the youth and you was dealing and with things going on, number one, they have to be, and we can talk about discipline a long time. Yeah. So I would think discipline is number one. You got to be disciplined and you got to be aware.
Okay, all right, I feel that. Now, easier said than done,
right?
Because we are talking about youth, and usually when we talk about revolt and revolution, it normally starts with the youth. Nakia T. Fields, she handles all kinds of stress and anxiety. I want to ask, what are some of the things that we can do to help the youth, or what are some techniques the youth can use themselves to help them have a more balanced view as to what the next step may be?
And are we still on the same topic of what's happening in the world, or is this around future planning? Because I think I have two different answers,
Okay, well, if you can apply both with what's going on to the world, with what's going on in the world to what they may have to do to plan their future planning.
Okay, well, let's do this.
Okay. All right, let's go.
Because I think that when we talk about the future, for most children, the future is what their parents told them is what is coming, right? It's what teachers told them, their parents, their friends, prom gonna be like this. Grad night gonna be like this. They don't know what it was gonna be like because they never had that experience yet, right? So the reason why I wanted that clarification is, when I would have this conversation with youth before we came into COVID-19 and quarantine, and now we having curfews in LA, I'm talking to the LA perspective.
Yes.
It's this whole new creature. Their parents don't know, and their teachers don't know, and our government doesn't know. Nobody knows. It's in flux. So I think that working with youth, we just have to really be present. Like, you know, Mr. What's your last name?
Vaughn.
Mr. Vaughn said, you know, you have to be aware and you have to be disciplined in the way you perceive the world, in the way that you practice ingesting news and content. So youth or adults, whatever is on their TVs right now, whatever Facebook post they're reading, Instagram person they're following, that is what they're ingesting about their future and their present right now. So if you're ingesting people who are sitting in their fear or in their biases on a regular basis, you start to take some of that on. So I think that if you are in this present moment, in this world, and you're thinking about your future, all you can do is breathe and pause and have a practice of taking care of self, whether that's religion, spirituality, meditation, walking, exercising, you know, whatever it is that we need to do and we figured out works for us is what needs to be done right now, because that's all we can do.
I'm gonna go to Miss D Lovett. Miss D Lovett is in Cordova, Tennessee, right outside of Memphis. I wanna talk to you about the human resources side, the job side of things. And I'm not even going to take it from a college graduate point of view. I'm just going to take it from a youth point of view.
Okay.
You work in, you know, corporate. You work in HR. You work with youth as well.
Yeah.
Now, you know, you hear us talking about, hey, you know, you have COVID, you have these protests. Hey, you have people who have these plans. Some of them may have planned to go to college, but now with everything else that's going on, they may have been thrust into starting a career earlier than they probably, you know, thought that they could have or should have. What are some of the things in your mind or some of the tips you can give to youth to help them get ready for the job field? Because there's a lot of them out here that are not ready, and you know, also take into account that, you know, we have a very large unemployment rate. So what are some of the tips that you feel you can give the youth right now as far as job searching?
Well, I want to piggyback too off what Vaughn said earlier. I'm going to have to tell them some of the same things. They need to be aware. They need to be disciplined. They need to understand, have a purpose, because what things are now are not what they used to be. COVID-19 has changed the world forever. However, people are they're not just breathing anymore. They're in survival mode. So that's why even with, we're on curfew as well. So even with all of the new things going on and the protestings and everything else, it's making people more aware, because they're not just doing and doing. Now you see, you heard it, you might have known about it, but you didn't understand it. Now you see what really goes on. And it's a difference, not just for people of color, but for all people. It's survival mode. So your job closed. This position may not have been there. This position may have been done away with. So now what do? More than ever, people are unemployed. They're doing things that they never thought they would do. And they're in survival mode. So now you have the youth coming in. Oh, I was planning to go to college, like you said, Nakia said, to stay in the dorm, to do all these great things. But now I have to make a decision. Do I help my family or even help myself? What things can I do? Well, first off, breathe. Understand that this is here and now I have to survive. How can I survive? Unemployment rate is through the roof. Are there jobs out there? Sure there are. But because of unemployment benefits, most people are making more money with unemployment benefits that they were making at a 9-to-5 job every day. So now I ask my question, do I want to work? No. I want to get these benefits as long as possible. And the youth see that. The day Nike opened up, and I'm sorry, Nike, I love Nike, but the day the mall opened up, we had a line. I was embarrassed. People were in line to get the latest shoes. Now, were all those people working? I doubt it. They had received stimulus money. They had received unemployment benefits. So what we need to do is educate our youth. Again, purpose. Make sure that they understand what is out here and what their options are. College can still be an option, possibly online at this point. But going into the workforce, you need to be dedicated. You need to be timely. You need to understand that this is where you will receive a paycheck and how you would make it until you get to that point, if or when you decide to physically go to school full time. So right now, I think the word right now is survival. That's what we have to prep them for, survival mode. Educate them on all bends, not just going to college, but understanding what's going on in the world.
Okay. See, hey, look, that's why we have this panel right now. I have brought in the heaviest hitters I can bring in on this subject, and for this to be my first panel, especially for like the youth and young adults. I think this is very key. Every last one of you have hit on a great point. And I think these are things, and these are the types of conversations that we personally should be having right now. As I've stated off camera, I feel we're in a state of enlightenment, and we need to stay on that path because it can easily be taken away. Because I feel like we're in the early stages of it, and if we just keep in the throes of things, man, we can find ourselves and like the whole community, the whole African American community in a much better place than what it is now. So with that being said, we've discussed the youth. All right, Ed, what words do you have for these college youth coming out right now, Mr. A.D. Vaughn?
I guess I go back to my word discipline. Number two, I always tell my youth that sometimes people will stop being your cheerleaders. Meaning that my kid was when he was young, even though he used to color out the line, and his artwork was was a mess, I still would cheer for him. I still would say, yeah, good work. I would hang his work on the door. I would hang his artwork on the door. I would hang it on my refrigerator. But I was saying, when you get older, people will stop cheering for you just like that. They're not gonna be your cheerleader like that anymore. So that means you gotta take discipline. And what I mean discipline, and what I mean about this, people not gonna recognize the change. Everybody don't recognize your change. But you gotta be disciplined to be on that same path and don't let that stop you. Whatever's going on around us, and they would always say, through tragedy comes triumph. Sure. All the time. People start their business through tragedy. They found that they sitting at home, they can't do anything. So what do? Shopify. When I look at that, everybody start putting stuff on Shopify. So again, when you start to make, how to say, you make your mess your masterpiece. So in this situation, we got to turn our mess into our masterpiece. We have to learn how to say, guess what? If college is not my next step, let me try trade school. Let me go to barber college. Let me do something. Let me take acting school. Let me do something to get to the next level. And don't settle for mediocrity. Don't settle for that. And to be disciplined. I'm still on that word, like I said, a long time, because that was the key word for me. If I, during this COVID stay in place, I had to be disciplined. I had to be aware that I couldn't get out. So I had to learn something. As a grown adult. So what can I learn? How can I be disciplined? And now everything is open. Like we said, we can go to the store now. Can I still stay disciplined when all this stuff is going on? So I would tell a college student, number one, be disciplined. In college, in college they said you can wake up whatever time you want to and go to class. Your professor is not going to be knocking at your door. You're not going to get a call home from to your parent and say your child wasn't in school today. So you have to be disciplined, number one, and you have to stay focused.
Okay, all right. Hey, Discipline. People, the word is discipline. I mean, and that's what's going to get you through these days and time. Nakia, I'm going to slide it over to you. You know what it's like coming out of college, man. I mean, in your case, going to grad school, you know, you were on a mission. You knew, but for those that are not taking that extra step, they're coming out. We're here. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, like, I was going to go into this business, but that market dried up because of this. You know what? I was going to go over here into communications. Man, I can't go over there because that's dried up because of this. How can we stay cool and calm? How can we keep them stress levels down? How can we keep from going over to the other side? Because you know how things are, especially coming out of college. We tend to want to keep up with what other people are doing. There may be that one or two people, you know, two friends or, you know, two associates that we, you know, hang with or that's in the same type of circle that may, you know, be going into a better situation than we are right now. And I've seen it with my own eyes. That causes stress and anxiety within, you know, the graduate themselves to want to elevate their game, but no plan. How do we keep the stress and anxiety down?
Okay. I heard many layers in that question. And I first want to jump into where you talked about looking to others for where you're going and what you need to be doing in your life, especially once you've left college. I think that's called in therapy talk extrinsic motivation versus intrinsic motivation, which is coming from within yourself. And I think the number one thing we have to do in our 20s, like our biggest challenge, is to identify who we are for ourselves, because we just, you know, most of us don't really leave our parents' homes until, you know, maybe 17, 18. Maybe we went away to college and that's how we got out the house, or we went and stayed with a boyfriend or a girlfriend or like some other different arrangement. And you definitely couldn't go and have your own house, right? Like right at that age. So there's this whole like period of our life where we're learning how to take care of ourselves, like pay our bills, make our own food, wash our own clothes. Like I know that most of my college years, every weekend I was going home to my mama's house and she was washing my clothes for me. And I was like eating top ramen until Sundays. I'm like, Mama, I'm coming home for dinner. You know, like I seriously was not an adult for like a very long time. And and my purpose of like going to college was never like, I want that bachelor's degree and I want that master's degree and everybody look at my degrees, because I am like one of the most extremely educated people I know. And a lot of people are like, why are you going to learn this? Or why are you interested in that? And I was like, it's not about you, dude. Like, are you questioning like why I like to learn? Because I'm just addicted to learning. Like I'm addicted to being a better version of me. I figured out a while ago that I like it. It feels good. I'm like, ooh, I'm kind of awesome. What? I don't care what they think. What? I mean, it was just so freeing. And I mean, let's move into that now. So what I talked about and what I described was a journey to intrinsic motivation. So I was intrinsically motivated by people and other people, like other girls, like, oh, does she think, oh, am I cute as her? Like, who cares? Like, somebody gonna think I'm cute, even if they don't think I'm as cute as her. Like, it's really not about that. And I think once you get to those kind of like thoughts and ideas for yourself, that's when you become more powerful. And then you move in your purpose as opposed to moving in other people's opinions. Because you can never make anybody else happy about you. Like, they always gonna find something else because they ain't you. You know, they're them. So everything you doing for yourself, they're gonna be like, well, I wouldn't. So what? You ain't me. I'm the queen of this vessel. This is me. You go do you. And what you got to do in your reality, and all this that I build for myself is safe for me. So I really like learning. And a part of learning was I met a lot of people who were doing big things. And when you learn things, you got to take the lesson. So I don't just meet people and be like, oh, you got this building and you got this business. How'd you do that? I don't just ask for curiosity. I want to know how you did it. And then I'm going to follow you and see what you did and be like, And I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna keep trying it and keep trying. I got 3 businesses. I got a nonprofit. I wrote a book. I write for magazines. I do a podcast. I don't work. I've been fully self-employed for 12 years. That's because at some point in my journey, I realized I didn't like working for people. I didn't like people telling me you got to be somewhere 9 to 5 and you got to ask to take a vacation. I don't want to ask to take a vacation. I want to go where I want to go. And you know, I'm such a strong-willed person that I listen to myself. Like my will was like, hey, we don't like people to tell us what to do. And I was like, right, girl, right. So I created work for myself that soothes me and listen to me. And I don't go get education and degrees because I'm showing it to somebody. I don't got a boss. Everything I got is, I needed this piece of paper right here to get that contract that person got. I needed this paper right here to be willing to be able to be in that room that I need to be in. I needed this little training for 2 hours to be in that room with that person. I need to go to this conference because I know this person right here is gonna be there and I want that, so I'm gonna make myself available to get that. So as you move through your life, you think about what you need and what you want. You move in your purpose with energy and breath, and anxiety and fear and depression and sadness and doubt and all the things that come up are normal. That's a part of being human. If you went through this life completely optimistic and positive all the time, I think you're lying and it's fake. You know? So there is challenge in this world. There is strife. Life is a boxing match, you know? Life is like, what you got? And it's like punching at you. And if you don't know how to deflect and pivot and swerve, that's what I call it. I tell my clients, yeah, girl, if you don't know how to pivot and swerve, it's just gonna keep bam, bam. Oh, you down? Bam. And you do it, yeah, I'm taking it. Because you accept the thought that depression or sadness or anxiety is taking you out. I would like to just put the challenge out there that if you have anxiety, because that's something I've always had. So what you're hearing in me is I was feeling some kind of way in my body, and the way I soothe myself is I do things. I'm productive. That's the way my anxiety manifests itself. So I've turned it around to be a tool. In summary of everything that I've said, there is a concept of yin and yang. Chaos equals opportunity. That is what that means. So we are in a time of chaos being a complete opportunity for you to practice being a better you, for you to be aware of how the world is changing and be a leader right now, because there is no leaders. Like there is no leadership in something that doesn't exist yet. So I invite you to know what your passion is and what your purpose is, and go and educate yourself in it and follow yourself. What's making you happy? What's making you passionate? What is easy for you to do? What is easy for you to get up and do every day? That's what you should be doing. Instead of trying to do something everybody else is telling you to do and you hate it, then don't do that. That's my advice. Come to therapy.
Okay. All right. I hear that.
Right? Like that's therapy, right? Like to know yourself and to heal and be strong and powerful. That is the work of therapy. It's not because you're crazy.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, man, look. That's the gospel from Mr. Kid T. Fields. I'm telling you right there. Miss D, bring us home.
I'm going to bring you home with Nakia because I agree with Nakia, okay? I'm going to go in with Nakia. I was a director of career services for about 8 years. I've always worked in workforce of human resources. So I'm going to bring it home. A job is where you get a check. A career is what you're passionate about. If you want a job, college student, you're just going to get a check. If you find something you're passionate about, that's when you grow, as Nakia was said. That's when you educate yourself. If every day you learn something different. If you stop learning, you stop growing, period. That's what my grandmother told me. She's 93 years old. If you stop learning, you stop growing. And I believe that to this day. So there's nothing wrong with educating yourself. All over everything we've talked about today is about the education. And that's what our youth must understand. You have to plan. College students coming straight out of school, you need to plan. You need to market yourself, because at this time, it's about selling who you are. What do you have to offer? What skills have you acquired? What can you do? You might not have the experience, but what have you acquired? What have you learned? Then when you market to yourself or marketing yourself, you're going to do what? Execute it. Once you execute it, you understand where you want to go and what you want to be. Nowadays, you need a plan A, B, C, and D, maybe a E and F, because we got so much going on right now. So you need to understand where you want to go. It's so much going on, but you have to discover, as Nakia said, and even as Vaughn said, who you are. Once you know who you are, the sky's the limit. Yes, we're in COVID-19. That doesn't mean you can't still live out your dream and be who you are. You have to discover what you're passionate about. Who are you and whose are you? You get up every day for what? What do you get up every day for? Get off this Instagram. You're not an Instagram star. Get off all this other stuff and educate yourself. Understand what you want to do. If you want a check, go get your check. If you want a career, become passionate.
Okay. All right. Snap.
Care about something.
I mean, snap them up, man. Look, seriously, I want to thank all of you all for lending your words of wisdom to everything. Man, I feel this is a great platform. I feel this is a great start. I want to have more of these talks. I want to bring youth in and to hear their perspective on things as well, because the only way we get better is with everyone. And I'm gonna end it like this. The great words of someone famous I've heard: a closed mind is a lost mind. Open your mind up. I'm gonna end it on that note. Ladies and gentlemen, man, I thank Mr. A.D. Vaughn from Helping Other People Prosper, Miss Nakia T. Fields. Man, you know what? She had too many titles, so let her just be Nakia T. Fields for today. And we love it up there, calling, man, coming to us all the way from the South. Man, I appreciate it. Look, NoCap KickBack, we only do the extraordinary, not mediocre over here. Thank you all. Good night.